J.B. Yount.
Yes, sir.
There he is. Yay.
No, I don't think I need the mic. Richard.
Most of you don't know J.B. Yount III as Eric On of the One Heart. But he was here January 11, 1992, dressed in white with the star horn, which celebrated the opening of the doorways of the 1111 that will close in 2012. And J.B. is, we affectionately refer to him as the Buddha of the Blue Ridge. Well, you're less Buddha-like these days, what can I say? J.B. and his family have a long history with this mountain. He is also the chairman of the board of directors of the University of Science and Philosophy that functioned from this location for approximately 50 years. Former mayor of Waynesboro, author, traveler, and just remarkable soul. So we appreciate J.B. you being here today to say a few words to the One Heart Homecoming.
Thank you, Richard. Richard knows that if I don't prepare, I ramble, and you don't want that. I want to thank Phil Delaney for opening Swannanoa. Inexpressibly joyful to be here once again with you who are of one heart with me. Here in this sacred palace where the mighty vortexes of universal love and knowledge have focused so often and powerfully over the years. Of course, my happiest memories relate to the years following that May afternoon in 1949 when at the age of 9 I was brought by my parents here to the dedication ceremony of the Russell Shrine of Beauty and met Walter and Lao Russell, who would have such profound influence on the rest of my life. It would be impossible to encapsulate my own experiences here and the efforts toward enlightenment I made through the ensuing 6 decades, directly flowing from the spiritual gifts that were also so freely available at Swannanoa. Gifts that remain in the very atmosphere, ours for the sharing. I wrote a book trying to express the enormous heartfelt love of Lao Russell, which seemed to me to be the pinnacle of the universal bliss found on this mountain. But others had known the power of this place for centuries. Our neighbors Bill and Virginia Edwards lectured on the Native Americans who held this place in awe. Even before, as Virginia Edwards wrote in her book, the Spanish missionaries journeyed here in 1590. More recently, my own grandparents found rapture here on this their mountain farm during the years before they sold the land in 1908 to Major James Dooley, who built the palace. I have an old clipping from the Waynesboro newspaper of 1904 describing how special this sacred place seemed to those who enjoyed it 104 years ago, before there was a palace here, before the Russells came. In many ways, the words describe a gathering like ours today. For surely, with those who were here then, we were, are, and shall remain one in the Spirit. The headline reads, "To Mountaintop, a delightful picnic beside the cooling waters." On Saturday, September 1st, a merry variety of friends accompanied their host, Mr. and Mrs. Joe Yount, to a mountaintop farm situated about 1 mile from Mountaintop. This gay party on picnic pleasure bent left Waynesboro about 9 o'clock a.m. The mellow ripeness of the late summer enhancing the beauty of the already enchanting landscape. The bright sunshine glancing upon this merry cavalcade, and the breath of heaven fanning their cheeks. all combining to make this a thoroughly enjoyed and never to be forgotten day. The picnic grounds being reached, the space is too limited to mention everything that found a place upon this picnic table. Suffice it to say that one glance was sufficient to convince anyone that this was veritably a land flowing with milk and honey, with abundance and various accessories. The dinner was partaken amidst laughter and jesting, and the guests dispersed in groups, exploring this delightful place with great interest and satiety. They wandered about, helping themselves abundantly to the fine apples, peaches, grapes, etc., which were here growing in great profusion, a delight to the eye as well as the taste. They drank from delicious fountains of pure cold water, so refreshing as to make me wonder that any person could prefer any other beverage. The scenery here is delightful and picturesque. On one side, spreading out below, is a pleasing panorama of the green fields, comfortable farmhouses, noble forests, and beautiful towns of Augusta County. While on the other side, rise to the sight a beautiful vista of the rocks and hills and brooks and vales of grand old Nelson and Albemarle. The guests greatly enjoyed all this beautiful scenery through a powerful field glass. In the afternoon, they were entertained with music, dancing for several hours in the parlor of the commodious dwelling house, long going, which is situated in a delightful nook of this pleasant place. Every picnic should have its fish story, and ours shall not be found wanting. There being no stream of sufficient size in which to fish, some of the devotees of angling repaired to an ice pond on the place. The fish, if any inhabited this pond, were very wary and refused the tempting bait. But at last one man, more persevering than the rest, landed an enormous turtle, which turtle clung tenaciously to life and refused to depart. I've spared you much of the Victorian prose the writer employed, but I hope the excerpts describe a scene much the same as what one might write about us today. Here, in a place the last century has made even more holy, where so many of us first learned to evoke humble efforts at expressing our inherent genius for the benefit of all mankind, in the manner Walter and Lao Russell so unceasingly urged us to do. I love you all.